You are Locked On Dolphins POSTCAST. Part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Fins fans? Welcome to your Locked On Dolphins postcast. My name is Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease, and man, oh man, this is a bad one. This might be the worst one of the year so far. What a way to open the show. What a way to spend your Sunday. Good Lord, 28-27, the lowly Arizona Cardinals, the worst organization in the history of professional football. Ever since dudes have been lacing them up, pulling the helmet on, the shoulder pads first, and putting that jersey on to run out of that tunnel and play football, there's never been an organization worse than the Arizona Cardinals. And the Arizona Cardinals, just the big comeback win, beat the Miami Dolphins on their home field today. Tua's first game back, some positives there, but yeah, at 2-5 now, I mean, this season is sliding down that drain very, very quickly. Locked On Dolphins postcast, Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease, at Jim Grease _, and there's no other way to say it. There's no other way to say it. This was a god-awful loss. It was god-awful. This season has been god-awful from the start. They keep finding more ways to lose games. And I'll get into it all, and you know I will. It's a postcast. I mean, it is what it is. But, man, how did they find ways to blow this game today? Let's get into it, shall we? But first things first, I, Grease, have to let you know that we're very appreciative of you sticking around. The Dolphins should be as well for the way the product they put on the field this year so far. But making us a big part of your day every day. Locked On Dolphins postcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And then, of course, today's show is brought to you by Game Time. And you know how we feel about Game Time here. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase with the Game Time app. What time is it? It is game time. Someone should have told the Dolphins that. And I say this every week, right? I mean, this team keeps finding new ways to lose games, new ways to give things away late, and find just it's Tua, it's no Tua. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. And all year long, we've been talking about Tua, like leading passer in the NFL last year, and how great of a year it was going to be. You heard me before the season. Look, I'm on ESPN radio a couple times every weekend, and I had the Dolphins as a dark horse. Coming at you like a dark horse. So, yeah, maybe go to the Super Bowl. Maybe even win it. I had Tua as a dark horse MVP candidate coming into this season. And, of course, the concussion against Buffalo. But, look, let's not kid ourselves. Let's not delude ourselves, okay? Mike McDaniel and the staff know this. The players in the locker room know this. I think you know this as well. This team has never been good this year. Jacksonville handed them the game with the ATN fumble. And look how bad Jacksonville is. Look how bad they are. They stink. They stink. Barely beat them at home. Your season started with the best player in the NFL lying face down in handcuffs. I mean, it has been a bad, bad run for Miami. And, you know, you look pretty good to start the game. You score on the first two drives, right? You score on the first two drives, touchdown, field goal, but fool's gold, right? The fumble. Early on that drive, they had two fumbles on the opening drive, recovered them both. They lost four fumbles, or they fumbled the ball four times, and they recovered them all themselves. One went out of the end zone. The safety ended up costing them the game. A safety. Tua took his eyes off a snap and went through his hands. He bats it out of the back of the end zone. Barely could even do that right, and it's a safety that ends up losing the game for them. The Cardinals outscore the Dolphins 21-14 in the second half. They win the third quarter. They win the fourth quarter. They won the second quarter. They won all three of those quarters, the second, the third, and the fourth. And the Dolphins, after outscoring them 10-0 in the first quarter, it ends up being another slop fest. It ends up being a game where they don't pick up the big first downs when they need them. It ends up being a game where even though they got him involved early, the Cheetah, Tyreek Hill with the foot injury, he's on the field. They missed him in the end zone on one play. It was a hold. I mean, the guy had his jersey without a doubt, but how many excuses can you make? How many excuses can you make for a bad team? We thought this team was a Super Bowl contender, and we thought the defense would be the reason why. But when you score 3, when you score 12, when you score 15, and when you score 10 in the games that Tua's out, and you scored 10 against Buffalo in the game that he played, and they were getting smoked when he ran that ball for the first down and he got the concussion to begin with. They were getting smoked anyway, right? So regardless of what was happening after Tua got hurt, everyone's going, oh, without Tua, they can't score. They weren't scoring with him. They were not scoring with him. They just weren't. I mean, yeah, look, they scored 20 against Jacksonville, 10 against the Bills, 3 against Seattle, 12 against the Titans, 15 against New England, 10 against the Colts, and finally today, they have a good offensive game. And they scored 27 points, but they blow it with a safety. They had 4 fumbles. Lucky they didn't lose those. Had they lost those fumbles, they were a blowout game. They were lucky. The football gods were in their corner for most of this game. And by the way, Marvin Harrison Jr., good Lord, what a player he is. And we've talked about him. We've talked about him overall. But, I mean, it just is a situation where your Miami Dolphins can't do anything. They can't do. The run game was good today. And I thought the run defense was great. Look, the Cardinals came in averaging about 5.5 yards per carry on the ground. The Dolphins held them to 2 yards a carry in the first half. And they literally had Connor going nowhere, stuck in reverse the whole game. He ended up with 53 yards on 20 carries, 2.7 per carry. And that was with the end of the game in the fourth quarter. Down the stretch they come. Connor was making some plays, and he was churning out those yards. But when you have HN, 10 carries, 97 yards, when 9.7 a carry. When you have Mostert, 9 carries, 19 yards, I mean, not the best game for him. He had a couple of touchdowns, though. And then Tua, 28 of 38, 234 for a touchdown and no picks, and you dominate the statistical categories. You actually win the statistical categories, and you still find a way to lose the game. I mean, is Mike McDaniel on the hot seat? No. Should he be? I don't know. Where's the offensive genius? How about that running play toward the end of the first half when they had that was a disaster, right? That was an absolute disaster. Complete disaster. And the play that I'm talking about, let's see, where was that? It was right before the half, right? It was right before the half. They kicked a field goal. Where is it? Yeah, first and goal at the 5-yard line. They get the ball, and they take it all the way down the field, okay? Right? And then where is it? Yeah, so 2nd and 4 at the 6-yard line. 2nd and 4 at the 6-yard line with 26 seconds left in the half. In the half, you're running the ball. You're driving the ball down the field. Tyreek Hill with an 8-yard reception. HN with a 16-yard reception. 2nd and 4 at the 6-yard line with 26 seconds left. What are you doing running the ball off right guard, Mike McDaniel? What are you doing running the ball off right guard with a speed back whose strength is to hit the edge? And you're running the ball up the middle. What are you doing? Why are you running the ball up the middle in that situation? I do not understand that for the life of me. Off guard, -1 on the play. The Cardinals were given a gift by Miami, by Mike McDaniel, in that they have to take their 3rd timeout with 22 seconds left, and then Tua tries to throw it to Tyreek, incomplete. 15 seconds left, they kick the field goal on 4th down. You wasted a down on 2nd and 4. You wasted a timeout. You wasted your last timeout to run the ball up the middle. What are you doing? Why? I do not understand for the life of me why they would do that in this situation. So that's one thing that I'm looking at, and I'm just going, whoa. And let me know what you're thinking in the chat. We love bringing you in. We love getting your comments. We love having you involved, engaged, active within the show. Smash that subscribe button. Hit the bell. Ring my bell. You know what I'm saying? So that you will get alerted when we drop new content for you here on your Locked On Dolphins postcast. And it just is a shame, man, the way that they started. And look, they fumbled twice on the opening drive. They were lucky the Cardinals didn't recover one or both of them, and wouldn't have recovered both of them if they recovered the first one. But you know what I'm saying. So it just was a very lucky game for Miami anyway, putting the ball on the ground all over the place and not looking super sharp in some areas. Waddle with a big drop in this game. And I thought Mark Schlereth said it best watching this game, the analyst on CBS, like, what are you doing, man? You've been waiting games. You've hardly been targeted. You've been catching nothing. You've been lucky to get anything thrown your way with Tua out, and you have a chance to make a big play, and you drop the ball. You let it get in your chest. I tell my kids from day one, make the diamond. The diamond, man. Let the ball, the tip of the football goes right through there. Catch with your hands. Jaylen Waddle, you're a $100 million receiver. He lets it get in on his chest, trying to hold it against your chest with your shoulder pads there. Why are you not catching with your hands, bro? This is basics. You shouldn't have to tell a $100 million wide receiver to catch with his hands and catch the football, should you? No. You shouldn't have to tell a play caller who literally dressed like an accountant when he got the job. Now he's sitting there looking like a cocaine kingpin on the sideline. Mike McDaniel, he's loving the South Beach life. He's loving the money. He loved the expectations coming into this season. He says all the right things. Doesn't do them. Running the ball between the tackles on 2nd and goal when you have one timeout from the 6. You weren't on the 2-yard line. You're on the 6, and it's 2nd and 4, not 2nd and 1. Bro, come on. And then you have Huntley out there. You have Thompson out there before that. These are NFL players, are they not? They shouldn't look like they just picked him up the 3rd-string quarterback off a Pee-wee team in Opelika. Is that what it should look like? I don't know. Maybe it just is. I'm having flashbacks here, going back to the old way of sports radio and sports content. But there's not much positive to say about this team, about this organization, about the future, about this season right now. Because when Tua has played, they haven't been good. Everybody wants to talk about, hey, Tua's, when Tua comes back and this and that. Yeah, they're better. They had their first game over 20 points this season. They scored 20 against terrible Jacksonville. Terrible. You're watching your Locked On Dolphins postcast. Jim Greasehaber. Call me, Grease, 28-27. Look, the running game looked good today. Why are you not running the ball more? Not on 2nd and 4 with one timeout left and 26 seconds left in the half from the 6-yard line. Not then. But the rest of the game, when you're dominating up front, offensive linemen want to just, bring those lunch pails, pin those ears back and go right at those defensive linemen. You're going to give them, I mean, look, there's a million different ways to talk about how they lost this game. There are. And when you talk about HN, 10 carries, 97 yards, he's averaging 9.7 per carry. Maybe you might want to run the ball a little bit more. But again, not on 2nd and 4 from the 6-yard line with 26 seconds left in the half and one timeout, and you get -1. Force yourself basically to kick a field goal there. A lot of positives early. They went down the field and scored 10 points on their first 2 drives, but again, they fumbled 4 times and didn't lose them. That was the key right there to that success. Spreading the ball around to the wideouts, that was good. Defense, I thought, played really well today until late in the game. So there are some things to take from this, but really you're looking for things to take from this when you're 2-5. How about you take this? A couple more losses and your season's over. How about you take this? A couple more losses and all those hundreds of millions on Tua and the playmakers. Where are the plays that are to be made? Where are they? Where are they? We'll talk about that on the other side. You're watching Locked On Dolphins postcast. Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease at @JimGrease_2827. The lowly, abominable, disgraceful Arizona Cardinals come into Hard Rock and get that win over your Miami Dolphins. And with that, get a chance to talk to you about, one of my absolute favorites. One of my absolute favorites here on the Locked On Podcast Network, and that is LinkedIn. And you guys know I'm a big, big fan of LinkedIn. Always been a big fan of LinkedIn from day one, but so many different features within LinkedIn. And when you're hiring for your small business, and I know a lot of you have small businesses, I do too, you want to find quality pros, right? You want to find good people. People who are going to get the job done, that are right for the role that you need filled. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and free. Faster and free. Think about that with LinkedIn Jobs. It's not just a job board. So many places are just job boards. No, LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else. Even those, right? Even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other job sites. And that's big, right? They do not visit other leading job sites. So if you're looking anywhere else but LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Don't they always, right? That's LinkedIn Jobs right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Today's show is also brought to you in part by Prize Picks, and you know all about Prize Picks, man. Prize Picks is legit. I love Prize Picks. It makes it so much more fun every single day to do what you love and be a sports fan when you're on Prize Picks and you're winning money. On top of that, it's the best place. And you guys know this. I talk about it all the time. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. And you know what I mean by that. With over 10 million members, it was over 5 until recently. They just hit the stratosphere and launched and skipped to 10 like an Elon Musk rocket, SpaceX. They hit 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, and you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. It's available in Florida. You know what I'm saying, Miami fans? So it's one of more than 30 states where you can get Prize Picks. It's the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy so that your lineups stay in play even if one of your players gets hurt. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, get this, Prize Picks will keep your lineup alive. It's the best place to get real money sports action. Over 10 million users cannot be wrong. And here's the best part for me, because you want that money, right? The withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, and they hit often, make no mistake about it. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Is absolutely incredible. So what do you have to do to take advantage of everything Prize Picks has to offer you? It's very, very simple. Download the app today, Prize Picks. Use code LOCKDOWNNFL. You get $50 instantly, $50 after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today, Prize Picks. Use the code LOCKDOWNNFL. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup with Prize Picks. Run your game right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. Look at that right there, that beautiful. All right, there we go. And boom. All right, moving it right along. 28-27, Cardinals beat the Dolphins. Checking my notes. I got a bunch of stuff here. The game started off, Tua with the 10 points on the first 2 drives. They fumble, though. And that first sack, right? You're thinking, man, don't hit him. So a little bit nervous. But later on in the game, he had the first down run where he slid. And you're like, dude, slide. So he slid, and then the field goals, I think toward the end of the half and the safety were the plays that lost them the game. It was the end of the half when they ran the ball, burned their last time out, threw it incomplete on the next play and kicked the field goal. I thought that was botched. I thought it was the coaching. I thought it was a horrible play call to run between the tackles. It's 2nd and 4. You have 26 seconds left. You had just hit 3 consecutive throws to get down there. Tua's feeling it. Crowd's in it. Everybody's there. Tyreek's looking to score. Look, he did get held. Tyreek did get held on that 3rd down play. A handful of jersey. And, of course, the offensive lineman goes, I have no problem with that, Mark Schlereth in the booth, because he had a handful of jersey his whole career, and he thinks everyone who grabs a handful of jersey should get away with it. It's called holding. They missed the call on Tyreek Hill. That would have given him a 1st and goal on the 1, and they would have punched it in. So, yeah, the officials are part of it, but you cannot blame the Zebras when you run the ball between the tackles with 26 seconds left on 2nd and 4 and 1 timeout. -1 on the play, you burn your last timeout. It changes the next play call with no timeouts. You can't even do it. So that really, I thought that was and with a 13-point half, their highest scoring half of the season, this was their highest scoring game of the season, and they found a way to blow it. So that sequence at the end of the half, during which they did not score a touchdown and they burned the clock. So to me, that was a huge sequence in the game. And then the other one was the safety. What in the world was going on there? You know what I mean? They throw it incomplete on 1st down, 2nd and 10 at the 13. It just is. He fumbles the snap. It was right here. It was right there. It wasn't like it was over his head, over here. It was there. He just botched it. And he almost didn't even tap it enough to hit it out of bounds. That should have been a touchdown. So the safety in that situation was absolutely terrible. That was terrible. 6:29 left in the 3rd quarter. They get the ball. They go nowhere. You know what I mean? And they're on their own 13-yard line after the Cardinals punt. They throw a ball incomplete to Mostert, and then Tua fumbles the snap. It goes right through his hands out of the end zone of the safety. And what happens then? They give up the 2 points to make it 20-18. It's 20-16 at the time. What happens right after that? The Cardinals go 9 plays, 75 yards, and score a touchdown. And they pull to within. And a nice job to within 2, by the way. Nice job by the Dolphins on the Beautiful play to stop the 2-point conversion with Connor. But how about that, man? Marvin Harrison Jr., the 22-yard catch from Kyler Murray. He had that one. He had another one later in the game where he laid out full extension on a 4th and 4 and made the play. He's the best player on the field. Marvin Harrison Jr. was the best player on the field, not Tyreek Hill. Not today. Not today anyway. I mean, we had a sore foot, but we're keeping real. Yeah, he was not the best player on the field today. You're watching Locked On Dolphins Postcast. We're going to hit you with the numbers, the player of the game, the turning point, the final score graphic, as well as getting you ready for the nightmare that could potentially be awaiting the Dolphins heading to Buffalo. Looking at the schedule, this team could very well be 2-7 by the time we blink again. This was a game they had to have. This was a game they had to win. This was a game they put themselves in a position to win. But the coaching at the end of the first half and then the botched snap from Tua that led to the safety, that led to 8 more points because they missed the 2-point conversion, 8 more points for the Cardinals. And that's what put the game away. We'll hit those things on the other side. Locked On Dolphins Postcast. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease at Jim Grease _ on social media right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team. They're yours, Miami, every day. Let's see where we at here. We are, someone should have told the Dolphins before it all started what time it was, because you know, and I know, it's game time. And what do you do when it's game time? You show up ready. What do you do when it's game time? You're prepared. You're excited. You are locked in and locked on, baby, when it is game time. And the Dolphins weren't today, but I know you are as well. I love going to games. I mean, look, Hard Rock is an unbelievable place to watch games, but what about those roadies? What about going to New York to see them play the Jets or the Patsies, the win on the road this year? What about those games? What about those trips? You know what I'm saying? There's incredible experiences with watching the NFL, the NBA, for that matter, live. I mean, the World Series going on right now. Look, and with Game Time, it's the best way to buy tickets. I've been going to games my whole life. Used to have to mail in. They'd mail them to you, or you're waiting in line forever at the box office the day of the game. No. Not with Game Time. And you don't want to buy from all these other sites and all these other places that you don't even know if you're getting a square deal. You don't even know, right? You don't even know, but you do with Game Time. And one of my favorite features with Game Time, and there's so many things, right? They have the number one lowest price guarantee in the industry. You get 110% of the difference back if you find it anywhere else cheaper. It's got the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry, so your purchase is covered no matter what. You can look at every view from every seat panoramically before you even buy them in the app. You can see what you're going to see before you see it. You know what I mean? You get all in pricing. You can get all the pricing up front so you don't get any surprises at checkout. And then you have Game Time Picks. And what Game Time Picks is, it's curation. Makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. You put in your parameters. They're only going to show you the seats that fall within the parameters that you set, that you want, that you feel comfortable with Game Time. So take everything out of the process that used to drive you crazy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. And all you got to do that is download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase with Game Time. And you download the Game Time app today. Get all that done. What time is it? Game time on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. And yeah, it was one of those days today. This is a bad loss. And so we have a lot of things that we can look to with this loss. We have a lot of things that you can point to, but this is the kind of loss that ruins a season. This is the kind of loss that you look back in January and you go, this is why we didn't make the playoffs. This is why we don't have a home game. This is why we're not seated higher. This is why we're going and playing a cold game on the road like last year, although this year they're not making the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs at this point. I mean, it'd be almost impossible to think about them making the playoffs at this point. I mean, really, when you think about it, there's no real chance for them to make the playoffs right now. There's no chance for them to make the playoffs. I mean, if you think about it, there's just not. What scenario do you think would unfold that would allow them to sneak in and make the playoffs? And I just don't see it. I mean, do you guys see that? I just don't. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know how they would even do it at 2-5. We'll look at the schedule. in a minute. But real quick before we do, and I'm going to hit this. Look, I'm going to hit this. And it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible, obviously, to lose this game and to have that happen the way that it did against a team like this, against a trash organization in the Arizona Cardinals. And I don't like to normally say those things. I used to work for the organization for a while. I was the Arizona Cardinals network postgame show host for a couple of years. I was the Arizona Cardinals. I did morning drive radio in Arizona for a couple of years. And it just, there were two turning points in this game. And that's it. That's what it was. And in this game against a team like Arizona, you have to, you have to make those plays and let them hang around. Look, Joe Rose and Jimmy Cefalo, and I love to watch the games and then listen to the local broadcast as I'm doing it. And Joe Rose and Jimmy Cefalo said it best. They let them hang around. You let them hang around the whole game. You let them kind of get to the point where they could make plays late. And it just wasn't, how do I say it? They didn't have enough of a lead to be messing around like that, is what I would say. They just didn't have enough of a lead to be messing around like that. And to me, that's what it's all about. If you don't have enough of a lead, you can't be messing around. And even then, you shouldn't be messing around. You gotta stomp on the throat, and you gotta put them away when you have it. You have to, man. You literally have to. And they just did not do that today. They did not do that today. And I'm looking for a picture of this play from Marvin Harrison Jr. And what a play it was. And we're gonna hit you with those on the way out. We're gonna hit you with stats here in just a minute, but if you bear with me, I'm just going to pull up this one catch from Marvin Harrison Jr. He had two of them today, one in the end zone and one on a fourth down play that were just both incredible. So he's the star of the game. He is. He's absolutely the star of the game. And we got to find that because that's the play of the game. He's the star of the game. The catch on 4th and 4 where he laid out, caught it, pulled it up. I don't know how to this moment, not sure how he did that. That was absolutely incredible by Marvin Harrison Jr. And obviously his dad was pretty dang good, right? and he's an outstanding player in his own right. All right, here we go with Marvin Harrison Jr. We're going to find this right now and pull that up for you. And obviously the Cardinals with a huge win today. And, look, taking nothing away from them. But I'll take everything away from them at the same time. Javon Holland got hurt today. I thought that the offense played better. Obviously, with Tua, they had their highest scoring game of the season. And I'm trying to find this one catch from Marvin Harrison Jr. If they had him laid out, where are we at? Yeah, he was a man among boys today, the rookie. Marvin Harrison Jr. was literally a man among boys. It was incredible watching him do his thing. Obviously, it happened against the Dolphins, so, it's a tough one. There it is right there. Okay. Gotcha, Marvin Harrison Jr. Yes, there we go. Okay, gotcha. All right, so here we go, and we are going to get this thing done for you right now and thrown in, and it'll be the player of the game, and it will be the turning point of the game, and it will be, it's not much of a stretch to say, so it's all Cardinals right now, and just unbelievable when you think about it. And Tua tried to knock that fumble out of bounds, and just that safety in the third quarter, and you're coming off the field in that scenario, and it just was. There's a picture of Tua coming off the field, and so we'll get these graphics up here for you right now. But it just was rough. It just was rough all the way across the board. You had the lead, you had a chance to put them away, you didn't put them away, and look, when you have the ball, right? And it's not just that. It's the safety. You take the safety, it's 20-12. They come down and they score, it's 20-18, right? Then Miami comes right down the field, 9 plays, 70 yards. Tua and the Fins, they answer, right? They answer, and they come back and they score. They score the touchdown. Achane, and look, they had a really good game today. He should have been the star of the game, but eventually it ended up being Harrison. So the Cardinals, 8 plays, 70 yards after that. You know what I mean? And just an unbelievable Harrison on the 3rd and 4 catch. It was a beautiful play to convert for a first down. That gave them the touchdown. The Dolphins come back. They go 8 plays, 23 yards, man. 8 plays, 23 yards. They get it at their own 30. They run it for 9 with Achane. You know what I mean? Ingold goes for 3. They get a first down. Achane loses 2. incomplete from Tua, and then 11 yards to Smith, right? And they challenge the play. They actually pick up the first down. There's 6:51 left. They get a first down. Mostert, no gain. Tua, a 1-yard pass to Hill, and then not to Tyreek, and then incomplete to Achane. So you have an incomplete pass in that series. You're stopping the clock at 5:12. You punt, and then what happens? You let the Arizona Cardinals go 13 plays, 73 yards, man. 13 plays, 73 yards, and they put the game away right then and there with the field goal. And it was a disgrace, just a terrible ending to a game that you should have won, a game that you had. You know what I mean? It just again, and I'm going to go through the turning point here. There's a couple turning points in this game, but we got to get on out of here. Kyle Krabs with Locked On Dolphins. They'll have you all week long, wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on the YouTube channel as well. But just a not a good day for Miami. Not a good at all. I mean, not a good at all. Just a bad game. They fumbled the ball 4 times, and every single time they fumbled it, they got it back. And it was just, they were lucky. They were lucky every time. They were lucky every single time. And eventually their luck ran out with the safety. And that was what really got them. And again, in the first half, you know what I mean? A 2nd and 4 at the 6-yard line with 26 seconds left and one timeout remaining. You run the ball between the tackles and you burn your final timeout. And I'm sick of these things not loading. Every day they just won't load. They won't load in here. Trying to get them up here, these overlays to wrap up the show, and there's 2 of them up there now. They just don't like to go. It just says upload taking too long 1,000 times in a row, literally every time. And so I'm about done with this right here. I'll try one more time and we'll see how that goes. So we can get out of here and obviously hit you with next week real quick. So stats wise, I mean, look, Tua 28 of 38, 234 in the touchdown. Achane 10 for 97. Mostert had 2 touchdowns. Tyreek 6 for 72. Waddle had a huge drop. Ramsey owns the corners. He was great, but he got beat by Harrison for the touchdown. The rookie beat Jaylen Ramsey. That shouldn't happen. And of course, the botched play call on 2nd down and 4 from the 6-yard line with 26 seconds left and 1 timeout. They run the ball, end up settling for a field goal, get the safety in the 3rd quarter. The Cardinals come down and score. After that, you give them 9 points by giving them the safety and the ball back when you had all the momentum in the world. Even so, you still came back and scored after that, and you had the ball with an opportunity later on and just didn't do it. You let them go 13 plays. You let them keep the ball for 13 plays to end the game. You don't even get it back. So what are you supposed to do in those scenarios? All right, so there you have it. I mean, those are the stats. And when you look at the team stats, right, it just was overall, I mean, first downs even. All this was evened up late in the game. The last 2 Cardinals drives evened them all up. Before that, they were skewed toward the Dolphins. They were 11 of 15 on 3rd down. They got 7 first downs on the ground. You know what I mean? They only had 227 passing yards. K1 lit them up with 307. On the other side, they were sacked. They had 150 yards on the ground and hardly ran the ball. It's interesting. They had a big advantage in time of possession until late in the game when they didn't, and it just was a disaster all the way across the board. All right, so let us get on out of here. We're running a little long in the show. First things first, we're going to hit you with the final score graphic, and there it is. Look at those. I mean, that's the worst organization in the history of football. Celebrating on your home field. They stink. Harrison's great. Murray's up and down. That team celebrated on your home field. They beat you 28-27. All right. How about the moment when this game turned? Safety in the 3rd quarter. There's Tua's face right there. A snap was right here. Right here. Went through his hands. Maybe a little rusty. Had a fumble earlier in the game. And yeah, a guy who was considered an MVP candidate, the leading passer in the league last year. Just not a good game. Not a good game overall. I mean, look, to lose the game by not catching a snap, giving up a safety, and on top of that, they might not have been able to stop the Cardinals from scoring a touchdown. Anyway, who am I kidding? All right, last one, which is the star of the game, Marvin Harrison Jr. Look at that dude laying out parallel to the ground, a big catch in the end zone, beat Jaylen Ramsey for a touchdown that got the Cardinals to within 2, allowed them to come back and win this game, and then the 3rd down catch. 3rd and 4 on what turned out to be the drive before the game-winning drive where they scored the touchdown. He's literally laid out like this. Full extension, parallel to the ground, arms out, somehow pulls it in. His hands hit. He doesn't lose the ball when he hits the ground. And that is absolutely unbelievable by Marvin Harrison Jr. Look, the Cardinals offense deserves a lot of credit. Kyler Murray, Harrison, their running game got going late, but they should never have been in the game to make the plays down the stretch to win it. And the Dolphins defense had chance after chance after chance to get them off the field, and they just didn't do it. They didn't do it. And early in the game, they had a chance to blow them off the field, and they didn't finish the job. But they scored the most points they've scored this season, and you know what I mean? They've got some things going offensively. They got Reek back involved, but again, you got a couple of games coming up here. You're at the Bills, at the Rams, then you got the Raiders and the Patriots at home, and then you're at the Packers, and then you have the Jets, and you're at the Texans, 49ers, at the Browns, at the Jets. I mean, you're looking at you're not going to win 10 games this year, Miami. You're not going to win 10 games. You're 2-5. It's been a disaster. You've scored more than 20 points once. You beat Jacksonville, who stinks. You beat New England, who stinks. You have so many games that you've scored in the teens. You have a quarterback who's always one hit away from being done and no real backup behind him. You have a coach who doesn't want to run the ball when the running game's killing it. And then when he does run the ball, he's burning timeouts and settling for a field goal at the end of the half. It's been a disaster all the way across the board. 28-27 is your final. Dolphins lose at home to the abominably awful Arizona Cardinals. They fall to 2-5 on the season, and they are still somehow second in the AFC least, otherwise known as the AFC East. That's all there is, Fins fans. There is no more. The Mad Dog will be turning over right about now watching this game as the Fins fall to the Cardinals 28-27. We'll be back next week. Your Locked On Dolphins postcast after they play the Bills. Don't forget Canes and Duke next Saturday. We'll be here with the postcast for that. Heat Monday. They have the Pistons in town, Detroit basketball, and then another couple games that week. We'll be here after all those, wherever you get your podcasts, and here on YouTube on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And before we let you go, I want to thank you for making Locked On Dolphins postcast your first listen today. Now for your second listen, go find Locked On NFL Now with 2 shows every day. Tyler Rowland in the morning with a double shot of NFL espresso. Then the barbershop, Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk in the afternoon. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Dolphins lose 28-27. Cardinals beat them. Fins 2-5. Keep your game tight and your mind right, Miami. We are out.